Rocks Out MUZKAST Experience with Aaron and Dave. I am dragging just a bit, Aaron. Just a bit. It was a late night last night.
Oh, it was. They played for 2 hours. I mean, I've seen some younger bands, and they're like hour and a half. Good night.
Yeah. These guys are 70-something years old, and
they're kicking it.
Yeah. They showed their age a little.
Yes.
You know, I've seen them in the past where I'm like, oh, they don't do that anymore.
Yeah, but I mean, they still got, it's got to be just hard moving around with those high boots.
A funny story. The original guitar player for Kiss, his name is Ace Frehley, and he was known to be a bit of an alcoholic. He's since overcome all that, but they had him in those platform boots, and he was known to fall over on stage quite a bit because of the platforms and probably being inebriated as well. And he had a solo song called Trouble Walkin', and I used to, one of those songs that you always sing along to and you think you know the words and then you really find out you don't. And I used to think the words to that song was I have trouble walking because he would fall over all the time. And no, the words to the song is I am trouble walking. But
I would say last night was a flawless performance. I mean, everything they wanted to do went without a hitch.
A lot of pyrotechnics and
laser lights, the whole thing.
And you
had told me, like, you're not going to see pyrotechnics at a show for $20 like you'll see at Kiss.
Yeah.
And I was like, because of our dry weather conditions here in Northern California, I didn't know if they were going to be able to do that. It was great. Like this at the end, though, when you saw so much confetti, you couldn't even see Gene Simmons on the big screen. And you'll see, I shot some video. I'm going to post it on our YouTube channel. You'll see it there. Couldn't even see him, and I'm like, they aren't going to do pyrotechnics right now, are they? Because it's going to turn into a whole new show.
They did it.
No, the confetti was gone, and then they lit off.
But there was still confetti in the air.
Oh yes, because but not as like.
Well, they had confetti cannons up at the stage, and they had confetti cannons out in the crowd, and so the whole area, the whole place, except for the lawn where we were, was just covered in confetti.
Even because of the little bit of wind was blowing it out, I think there's confetti that almost went to the lawn on the other side.
Right.
But I was like, man, I hate to be the person that's got to pick up that after
the show. Man, I thought that as we were walking out, and I looked across the lawn and I saw the garbage and chairs, and because they tell you to leave that stuff there.
Yeah.
And so we left it all there. And I just was like, I feel so bad for the people that got to walk through here afterwards and try to clean this up. What a nightmare.
Hope they get paid by the hour.
Yeah. So the show was, now, one thing I saw online was like the show runs 2 hours, 15 minutes, 2 hours, 20 minutes, something like that. It's a 2.5 hour show. So you get your money for $20. That's for sure. One thing I do like about Kiss, and I like it about any band, is that I don't think that every band that hits the stage is 100% all of the time. They're not perfect. They're going to hit wrong chords on the guitar, or their voice is going to crack, and that happened. Paul Stanley, the lead singer, his voice cracked a few times. Which I gave him a pass for because I think the guy's like 72 years old or something like that. And that's okay. And he yells and screams through the whole show. There was a couple of times that I think Tommy Thayer hit, he's the guitar player, he hit a wrong note. But I like it because it tells you that they are playing live. You're not listening to a track and these guys are lip syncing or anything like that. No, they're actually playing live, and they're putting on this huge spectacle of a show. And I'm padding a little bit while Aaron looks up
69.
Okay, 69. I was close.
69, 70. It's still up there.
I was close. Hey, I'm 50 and couldn't do what they did.
You'd have been falling on the ground with those shoes on.
I'd be like, no, hey, you know what? Just give me some tennis shoes, man. I can't do this anymore. You know,
and they call this the end of the road tour. And again, I think this is their 5th end of the road tour.
Yeah.
And
I saw a lot of
what I saw last night, because sometimes you see like older sports guys, boxers or whatever, and after watching the fight, you're like, hang it up. Please hang it up. Or you watch them play basketball, whatever. Please stop. What I saw last night, they can probably go for another 5 years. They're, you know, they mentioned they're in the Hall of Fame, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and they deserve to be.
Yeah.
But I didn't come for a performance last night. I came for a show.
Well, you got the show.
And I got the show.
You got the show,
man,
for sure.
So good.
If you're a Kiss fan at all, I mean, they played a lot of the old stuff. They came right out of the chute with Detroit Rock City and Deuce. And let me see, what else did they play? Yeah, Heaven's on Fire. So they played some stuff from the 80s. They played some stuff from the 90s. They played Psycho Circus. Of course, wrapped it up with Rock and Roll All Night, Party Every Day. And I realized this morning I can no longer rock and roll all night. I can rock and roll, as they say in that movie. We were talking about it. My wife and I were talking about it. Role models. Rock and roll part of the night. But anyhow,
I'll tell you what, my wife, my son are not, you know, my son goes, I hadn't really listened to any music, but he was like entertained. You know, he knew a few songs, but you could clearly, the sound was great. It was right on par. You could hear whatever they were saying. Just a great show.
Well, they are showmen, and they have a high expectation. You know, it's a brand, and that's why I say this all the time. I don't think it's going to happen, but I say it all the time, which is, hey, if Gene and Paul want Kiss to continue on, that's easy to do. It's easy to do. You put 4 really good musician showmen in makeup, and you put them on tour, playing those songs.
But it's not Gene Simmons.
It's not Gene, and it's not Paul.
Yeah, more Gene for me than Paul, but to me, this is Gene's band. This is, you know, Paul's been a part of the ride.
Well, they're partners. It's both of them.
It is both of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's both of them.
So if one decides I've had it, they're gonna stop.
Yeah, the other one's done. Yeah.
Okay.
And I truly believe that this probably is the end of the road for them. I think they've, you know, realized that they're at a point where they can't continue doing the same thing they've been doing for all these years. But they do put on a great show. Lots of pyrotechnics, stuff that you probably never thought you'd see in a concert. You probably saw last night, I bet.
And back to an old-fashioned rock and roll show. Guitar solos, bass solo, drum solo.
Yep.
We go to shows all the time, and there is none of that. It's like song after song. Hey, how you doing tonight? All right, we're gonna play some songs.
Yeah.
And it was great. I think it's great when you do the drum solo because the other guys take a break. You know, get a little break, and the drummer gets a break with the guitar solos. And
well,
man,
Eric Singer is the drummer.
Okay,
and he is, I'm guessing, about 20 years younger than the other guys. I'm guessing at that. He's been a drummer for a long time. He's played with Alice Cooper and a lot of other bands as well. And he's been with Kiss for a long time. And I thought it was pretty funny. I thought his drum solo was kind of funny because he started out with the double kick drum, and they were showing on the video screens, they were showing his feet doing the double kick drum, and then they pan up to his face, and he's taking a towel and he's wiping off the sweat, and you know, he did that a few times,
posing to the camera,
oh. And then and then the part that I found really amusing was, while he was doing his double kick, he was very neatly folding up the towel that he'd wiped the sweat off his brow with, and setting it aside. You know, It's like I'm in no rush. You know, I'm going to do this right.
Yeah, they aren't going anywhere.
Yeah, but
and then the drum set rises.
Right. That's old school stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
We used to see a band, and they had a machine that turned the drummer on its side and all that. And my wife was pointing, well, he didn't, you know, turn on its side. I go, yeah, honey, but is still really cool.
Yeah, well,
because he's up there he was up there, and you can clearly see he was not like strapped in.
Yeah, he's not going anywhere.
Yeah, but if he tumbles whatever or slips or whatever, he's going down for the count.
Yeah.
But he was up there just going away, and as it goes up and down, and it was amazing.
I do think that this thought ran through my head. I think that if I was the drummer, you got to put a lot of faith in the people that set up that stage and those pyrotechnics, because those, as the drum riser rose, those pyrotechnics were going off right over his head, and there's flames shooting across both sides of his drum kit. And I was thinking to myself, man, if somebody just angled it just wrong, it's a bad night. But, that's the thing with the Kiss show.
Don't make that guy mad.
Yeah, that's the thing with the Kiss show is there's such professionals and perfectionists when it comes to the show that everything has to run right. And Gene, I think that I credit that to Gene. The one thing that Kiss doesn't really do, like we were talking to Peter last week from Peter 118 about connecting with the audience. Paul doesn't really connect with the audience. You can tell everything he says every single night. He's not thrown for a loop. It's the same thing every single night. So, no, he doesn't really connect with the audience in that manner. But he connects in a different manner, which is the show.
You're correct.
Yeah. So,
what was your favorite song last night?
You know what? I rocked out the hardest to the first two songs, Detroit Rock City and Deuce. Deuce is one of my favorite songs. And if you go back and listen to the live albums, I'll say Kiss Alive 1 or 2, you can hear Peter Criss play Deuce. He's the drummer. And then you go to Kiss Alive 3, where Eric Carr, who later died of cancer, they loved Eric Carr. But you hear him play Deuce, and you're like, wow, you can hear how much better of a drummer Eric Carr is than Peter Criss. Same thing with Eric Singer, is you can hear how much better the songs sound with him than Peter Criss. So the way they played Deuce with all the pyrotechnics and Detroit Rock City, man, it was a great way to start the show. I was all into it. I fell into a little bit of a lull in the middle, just because I was like, I want to go a 2-hour show, but at the same time, I'm ready to go. So it was fun like that. But it was fun hanging out, too, and seeing all the people dressed up and hanging out with friends and stuff like that. So
yeah, I saw one of the people had the high heels on, and they looked to be in some pain.
Oh, the platform shoes?
The platform shoes.
Yeah, that poor girl.
Yeah, that looked to be pretty painful at the end. Wasn't walking like she was the first part of the night.
Right.
I liked I like it. I love it loud.
Right.
And then the ending is always
rock and roll all night.
Yeah,
because it's just a great finale.
I was just I was made for loving you. I think it's the song. Yes, that's a song I do know. So I was made for loving you.
What did you think about David Garibaldi?
Oh, it's really cool.
Yeah. Now, David Garibaldi is a painter. He's from Sacramento. You've probably seen him on AGT. He does this thing where he's a performance artist. He puts music out there and he paints in time with the music, and he comes up with these amazing paintings. He did a tribute to 9/11, which I thought was really cool because he started out by painting the Twin Towers, and you're like, oh, he's going to paint the Twin Towers here. And then by the end of the song, you realize that he's painted upside down the Statue of Liberty, which was really cool. He also raffled off a Kiss painting, and he did one other painting. But
he did that upside down too. That was really cool.
Yeah. He tends to paint upside down a lot. Sometimes he paints in reverse, so you are actually seeing the reverse image, and then he flips it around.
He opened with the Aerosmith song, and I recorded that, so I'll post that too.
Yeah.
And he painted Steven Tyler, picture of Steven Tyler.
Right.
And so it was a great. He got the crowd all pumped, and a lot of people were just coming into the show and everything, but still got the crowd pumped and ready for Kiss.
Right. And by the way, that's the guy that I met at the NF show. I don't know if you remember that.
Yes.
Yeah, David Garibaldi, you come up and said, "Hey, there's some guy down there. I don't know who he is."
I haven't forgot his name because it is a unusual name to me.
Right.
So when you were like, "Oh, that's so and so," I still remember that.
Yeah. So you had told me that he was down there, and man, I bolted out of my seat to rush down and meet David Garibaldi because he's one of my favorite artists, and he was very nice. And he said, "Yeah, I saw you sitting up there," and we talked for a brief second, and he took a picture. Very nice guy, and he's from Sacramento.
Yeah, you asked me to contact.
Yeah, I'd love to get him on the show.
For the show, I will do that, and we'll see.
We'll see what happens.
Yes, that's.
I know he is a busy guy.
Yeah.
He is a busy guy, but he's got a great story too. So, and I believe he's a Christian guy.
That'd be great.
I believe he is.
It'd be great to have him on the show.
Yeah. So that was our night at Kiss, and it was everything you had hoped it would have been. Correct?
Best show I've seen in Wheatland. I mean, it's not the best show of all time, but I've seen.
What's your best show of all time?
Oh man, the Jesus Freak Tour.
Okay.
Easy talk.
All right.
That's probably the
Did
best.
they blow the stage up like kissing?
No.
No. Okay.
No, they just I just can't, the energy in the crowd, because it was one of the last shows I went to with it was at the old Arco Arena here, and the whole floor was all standing room only.
Yeah.
And to see at the end everybody bouncing, the band crowd surfing and all that, it was just an amazing night. And again, years ago I was younger, but it's probably, the Kiss show is probably the best show I've seen in Wheatland. And I was thinking I'd like to see them once and that's it. I tell you what, if they came back again,
you'd go again, right?
If they did Into the Road Part 2 or 5 or 6 or whatever it is, I would be right there. And I think my wife would go too. She's not a rock and roll fan, more of the contemporary pop hits.
Right.
But she had a great time last night. She told you? I had a great time.
I was a little surprised.
Yeah.
I was glad to hear that.
And then my youngest son and his girlfriend, they had a fantastic time. I think 18,000 or 15,000, whoever was there last night. If you went away not having a good time, I guess you weren't looking at the show.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there were other things to look at that night, but there's a lot of spectacle in the crowd.
Yes.
But anyhow, we're gonna get back to music and
more. We're gonna play a Kiss song right now.
Oh, we are?
Yeah, God Gave Rock and Roll to You.
That's probably about the only appropriate song for this show, but God Gave Rock and Roll for You. I'll give a little history for anybody that doesn't know, because your wife did say they were playing a Petra song, and I went, oh, yeah, that's not Petra. That's actually a song written by Russ Ballard. It was performed by Argent back in the 70s. Petra, up until the time that Kiss did it, was probably the most famous for doing it.
So Petra did it before Kiss.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they did it twice before Kiss.
Okay.
They did it on Come and Join Us and later on Beat the System.
Okay.
And then along came a little movie called Bill and Ted, the second one.
Oh.
It's not Excellent Adventure. It's the second one. But that's where God gave rock and roll.
Not so good adventure.
Yeah. Well, I liked the second one.
You
It
did?
was fun.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I did.
All right. So back to and then Petra did the song.
Yeah.
Then Kiss did the song, and
Yeah. And it's kind of theirs now.
yeah.
You know, I mean, for us in the Christian we know it as a Petra song, but for everybody else, it's a Kiss song.
I thought Kiss did it before Petra, but
No.
not the case. So.
Nope. All right. So here's Kiss. I never thought I'd say this. Here's Kiss on the Rock Solid MUZKAST Experience.